Hey, my dude. Look, are you ready? I'm ready to go. I gotta critique these two terrible images today. I'm not in a good mood. First, I'm gonna fire and then I'm gonna beat you.
Wow.
And you better not have been recording that either. Because you're not gonna be giving that to no friggin' HR person or no government agency or no newspaper or CNN or something like that. This is not gonna go anywhere. You better not be recording this. Hey guys, it's Ernesto. Welcome back to another Monday critique. I hope you are having a fantastic Monday. For me, unfortunately, not so great. I have two terrible images to review today. I can't ever look at you guys. Let's just go to the intro. If you guys want to submit your image to be critiqued, please join our Facebook group. It's called Fine Art Photography and Modeling. In that group, I created a specific thread where you could submit your images to be critiqued. Hey guys, welcome back. All right, I lied. We don't have two terrible images to review today. We have two fantastic images to review today. So fantastic that I'm really finding it hard to find areas in these images where I can actually critique. It's pretty good. All right, so enough of that. Let's jump into the first image on deck. So this image was submitted by Richie. Yeah, see, I can pronounce that, right? Don't laugh, I can pronounce that name. When he submitted this image, he did submit some information about this image. So let's start with the very first thing that we always start out with, which is light. Although it's very hard for me right now to find areas to critique within this image, we still start out with the fundamentals, because when I'm looking at any image, I look at these general areas. When I approach a photo shoot, I approach it in this very same manner. So, light. In this image, when Richie submitted it, he did specify that the light source in this image was a window light. Now, in the last Monday critique video, the last image I critiqued, that image was also using a window light. Now, this image is using a window light. Now, in that last critique, I said, one of the things that I typically do when I'm using a window light is I turn the body away from the light. And in this image, that's exactly what Richie did. He had the subject turn his body away from the window light, which add a little bit more texture to the clothing that this gentleman in the image is wearing, which is awesome. It added a little bit of shadow, and then you have a little bit of highlight on the left side of the image, which is camera left, okay? So awesome job with that. He also have a nice little catch light in the subject's eyes, which is awesome. In addition, there's a lot of depth and dimension in this image because you have a lot of shadow on camera right, which is on the left side of the subject's face, which is awesome. And then you have the little bit of highlight on the right side of the subject's face, which is on the camera left, which again is awesome. So there's a lot of good things going on with respect to light in this image. So there's not much things I could say to address and fix in this image. There was only one item that I thought that was a little bit distracting. That one item is the light just appears to be a little bit overexposed, just a little. Not a big deal, but just a little. Because when I put it into Photoshop, I did notice the histogram was kind of peaking. And it could be peaking as a result of the window, obviously, because that's where the light source is, and he did include that in his composition. If I look at the subject's forehead, you will notice that there is a little bit of a strong light that's bouncing off of the subject's head. So I would say with respect to that, just in post, reduce the highlight just a little bit. I don't know if you're using Lightroom or Capture One or whatever it is that you're using. Just drop the highlight just a smidge, and I think that would have helped address some of the overexposure issues in this image. But other than that, man, look, from a lighting perspective, this is awesome. Now let's move on to posing. From a posing perspective, in this image, the pose is fine. There's not much posing going on. It's just fine. He's just looking straight at the camera, which is totally fine. And there's not much else I can add to it. So I will move on. So great job with the posing. Now let's move on to composition. From a compositional perspective, I think you did a pretty awesome job with this image. The only thing I would have added or would have liked to see adjusted just a little bit is the image cropped a little bit more onto the subject's face, such as the one that I'm showing right now in this video. And I think that would have helped with focusing the viewer's attention a little bit more onto the subject's face. Although I did look at this image for 10 minutes, and at some points I thought that this guy was actually staring right back at me. So I think you did an awesome job. I mean, my minor suggestion about cropping it, it may work, may not work. Overall, I like the image. It's perfectly fine with respect to the composition. So awesome job there. All right, so now let's move on to image number 2. So image number 2 was submitted by this gentleman, Max. Let's start with lighting. Max, when he submitted this image, he did express that on the day that he took this image, it was an overcast, cloudy day. However, even though it was an overcast, cloudy day, he did find the direction of light with respect to this image, which was pretty awesome. And if you can't tell that he found the direction of light, just take a look at the subject's eyes. You would notice that the subject have some nice catch lights in her eyes. So double thumbs up there, Max, because I love my catch lights, so that's awesome. Great job there. Overall, I really can't see anything wrong with respect to the lighting in this image. So awesome job with that, Max, and I'll just leave it there. Let's move on now to posing. From a posing perspective, she's not really doing much. She's just sitting there. The only thing I wish I could see is just maybe some definition of the female form in this image. But other than that, pose is fine. I think you and your subject did a fairly good job. So congratulations to you both. So moving on to the composition. From a compositional perspective, this actually goes back to critique number 2. So the video that we did for critique number 2. So Max in this image composed his shot in a similar form as critique number 2. So if you go back to video number 2, you would know what I'm talking about. Because in this image, you have the same type of foreground, background type situation going on here. And the thing that I suggested in critique number 2 was that I wish that the foreground was a little bit more out of focus. And in this image, I think Max kind of achieved exactly that. He kind of pushed the foreground a little bit more out of focus than in critique number 2. So for that reason, I think that from a compositional perspective, he did a pretty good job with respect to the composition. The only thing that I wish we could have done with respect to the composition in this image is simply move the subject over just a little bit to the right, because right now I feel like she's hiding behind the foreground. So I feel like if she would have moved over just a little bit over to the right, we could have seen a little bit more of her face, and our hair, and now we would just be focused straight in on her. So right now she just feels like she's peeking out. So that's the only thing I would have adjusted just a little bit, either changing my composition or just asking her to move over just a little bit. And I think that would have worked fairly well for this image. All right guys, so now let's move on to the rating of these two images. The first image on deck is Richie's. Light, I gave this image a 4. Composition, I gave this image a 4. Pose, I gave this image a 4. Overall, this image received a rating of 4. All right guys, now let's move on to the rating of Mac's image. Light, I gave this image a 5. Composition, I gave this image a 4. Pose, I gave this image a 4. Overall, this image received a rating of 4.33. All right guys, I hope the image creators got a lot of information from this critique, and I hope you guys, the viewers, got a lot of information from this critique. I completely understand that these images were so great that there wasn't much information for me to critique on. So I do hope that you at least enjoyed the video, and at least you enjoy these wonderful images that we were able to review together. Now, if you guys have any additional feedback, helpful feedback over and above the feedback that I provided on these two images, please drop those comments down below and let me know, let the image creators know. I may have missed something or overlooked something, but you guys, I'm sure, have your own eye and you could probably see something that I did not see. So that would be awesome. I've been enjoying the feedback that the community has been given, and you guys have been contributing a great deal to making my process a little bit easier and helping out others with providing your feedback. So I appreciate all the feedback that you guys have been given. Keep them coming. That is it. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up button. Share this video with your friends and family. And please put some feedback down below and let me know what you think about this video. And guys, if you got this far in the video, you must be enjoying this content and you must be enjoying this channel. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next Monday.